Tonight on the Al Denson Show, join Al and his guests, Be-Right music recording artist, gospel gangstas, answering your email questions, Dr. Tim Clinton, and as always, Jeff Calhoun and the Al Denson Show Band. Now, here's your host, Al Denson.
Woo! What a crowd, what a night. Hey, welcome to the Al Denson Show. You know what, I can already tell by how hyper the crowd is, this is going to be one of those fantastic shows. You know, we're talking about the blame game, and the wild thing about the blame game is that every single person is playing the blame game. We've all played it before in our lives. In fact, I'll tell you what, Jeff, you probably didn't know this. When I was like, golly, what was I, 11 years old, me and my little brother, we had a neighbor that always used to get on us. I'm talking about, you know, these neighbors that every time you come home, you just want to smack this neighbor. You know, even when you're a kid, you just want to just tear the guy up. Well, he kept telling my dad stuff, and every time he told my dad stuff, we'd get grounded. So I was like one of those kids that was eternally grounded. You know, I was grounded. When I go home for Christmas, I'm still grounded. I'm still making up time. But the wild thing was, we decided, my little brother, it's 11:30 at night. We said, you know what? This man's going to pay. This man's going to pay. So me and my little brother got a wagon out, filled it up with toilet paper, went down to his house and said, Lord, please bless this moment. And man, we just TP'd this dude's house till you couldn't see no more. Then we were walking away, and me and my little brother looking at it going, you know, it's never looked this good before in our life. So we thought to ourselves, let's knock on the door before we leave. Now, bear in mind, it's 3 in the morning, but still, this is a moment. So we went up there, we beat on that door, and we're going, yeah, my little brother's kicking, you know, I've got the doorbell thing going. Then we take off running. Well, we're not running that fast because we're going there in bed. It wasn't 6, 7 seconds later, that man opens the door. Well, then all of a sudden, we got in high gear, right? Well, he sees us, starts yelling our names out. We're busting. My little brother starts grabbing his backside because he knows it's going to hurt already, so he might as well get his hands back there, you know? So we get to the house, we go inside. Well, our first thought is, he's going to call Dad to wake him up, we're dead. So we run down the hall, crawl past our parents' room, go into my older brother's room. Now, this is what older brothers are for, to save the day. We jump on the bed, wake him up. My little brother's going, man, we're going to get bed. I said, shut up, Rich. So I said, Denny, we TP'd Mr. Whitnall's house. He's going to ring the phone. When he does, grab it the minute it rings and act like your dad and get us out of trouble. He said, I can do it. So, you know, so sure enough, man, we're standing there, you know, the phone rings, he grabs it and says, hello? Yeah. No, are you serious? You know, and then all of a sudden the light cuts on. My dad opens the door. What's going on? Here's my little brother. He's looking at my dad thinking, oh my God. You know. He immediately points to my older brother and said, Denny, that's my older brother's name, Denny just wrapped Mr. Whitnall's house, and now he's on the phone trying to explain why he did it. I'm thinking, oh my God. So I just looked at him and said, yeah. So my dad looked at us and said, boys, go to your room. Son, hang that phone up. My older brother didn't squeal. He got up, had to go there that night, clean the whole thing up. My little brother's in his bed going, he's thinking it's great, you know. Now me, I'm still toying with, should I get out and go help him? Or should I, you know, so I just stayed there, you know what I'm saying? Next day, we knew we got away. Went in there. My older brother wouldn't speak to us, but we're just as happy as we can be because we still got our backsides and feeling real good about it. Well, the doorbell rings. It's Mr. Whitnall. Remember I said we loaded the wagon? We'd left the wagon. He came there, said, John, Alan Richard left the wagon. He said, what do you mean, Alan Richard? He said, I thought Denny. He said, no, it was Alan Richard. We're standing there going, oh boy, this is going to hurt, you know. And sure enough, man, I mean, we ended up getting busted because we were playing the blame game. Now, you guys, you're sitting there going, man, I've done stuff like that before. I mean, have you really? You're sitting there watching. Ask you a question. Have you ever, like, come home from school with your report card and say, Dad, I'd have made a better grade, but my teacher doesn't like me. You've done that before. Or, you know, hey, everybody else is doing it. This is Jeff and I's favorite. Dad, if you'd just buy me a car, man, I could get a date, but I can't get a date without a car, Dad. You know, going through the whole thing, we all end up playing the blame game, and the bottom line is, you know what? Here's why we do that. Because we've all bought into the lie. And you know what the lie is? The lie is this. We think we'll be worthy to be loved if we're perfect. And to be perfect, we got to make right choices every single day of our life. And the bottom line is, we can't do that. So we end up transferring our guilt on somebody else and saying, hey, I'm not going to be the one. You be the one. And we end up blaming it on somebody else. So we went out into public schools. We went all over the place. In these schools and high schools and junior highs and asked students, why do you think people play the blame game? And here's what they had to say.
Most of the time I take responsibility for my mistakes.
Because they were like my fault. I could have probably prevented them somehow.
No, I do not blame other people for my mistakes.
Because what I do is, I guess I need to
fess up for it.
The reason being is because what I choose to do is my own actions. God gave me the right to make my own choices, and that's what I do. So if I make a mistake, that was my own choice.
No, my friends are not responsible for my problems.
They might help cause problems, but the rest of it comes to me.
System, I guess, says they are, but I don't think they are, because what I do is my problem, not theirs.
It's not their fault that I'm making the mistakes that I am, and they're supposed to help me through my problems instead of help me make them.
I depend on myself, my friends, and my family to help me solve my problems because they're always there for me.
They help me through some problems, like talk with me about them and kind of cheer me up sometimes.
I guess I want them to encourage me so I won't make that mistake again.
There's 3 different types of people we blame. I mean, we'll end up, number 1, we'll blame somebody else because we want to transfer our guilt onto somebody else so we feel better about ourselves. Or 2, we blame ourselves. And the bad thing about blaming ourselves is, you know what we do? We end up beating ourselves to pieces. I mean, our self-esteem gets ended up somewhere. Or the third thing we do is we blame someone we can't see, you know, God. We say, oh no, it's just God's fault. It's kind of weird how we always fight through that. And we're going to talk a whole lot more about why we blame each other. But I want to ask you to do me a favor right now. Listen, I want you to get a pen, piece of paper. The reason I want you to do that is because we're going to offer you a little book in a minute. This is a free gift to you guys that says who's going to pay. We're going to give you this at the end of the show because you know what we want to do more than anything? If you're struggling playing the blame game, we want to help you. That's why we write this kind of material. So do us a favor. Get that pen, get that paper. Don't go away. Stay right there, and we will be right back. If you could get away from your parents, why would you leave your parents? Why would you want away from your parents?
Well, don't like to listen.
I don't like being told what to do.
Well, my parents freak out on the little things.
Maybe some of the rules around the house are too strict.
Seems like my parents are out to make it so I can't have any fun.
Because when you go other places without your parents, you can do stuff that she wouldn't let you do, and she wouldn't be there to get after you.
But I know they're trying to do what's best for me, but it's hard sometimes because it seems like there's so much more I could be doing.
This is my favorite part of the show. We have on here, he's going to be on here every single week, Dr. Tim Clinton. And the great thing about Dr. Tim Clinton here is he runs the American Association for Christian Counselors, has like 20,000 counselors. Now, Dr. Tim, first thing we'll do is take an email from a kid, and then we'll take an email from an adult.
Oh, let's do it.
Now, I don't think you're ready. You got that smile on your face, but this is a hard one. Let me explain to you. This is what the email says. I know my dad is cheating on my mom, and he knows I know, but my mom doesn't know. Now, what do I do?
You know, there are a lot of kids out there right now who are going through this type of scenario. You got 50%, literally 50% of parents are going to wind up cheating somewhere. And usually the kids are going to be sort of in the mix early on and knowing what's going on.
Sure.
A lot of parents think that they can keep it hid. They don't. If you find it out, you're going to have to do something about it. You're going to have to step up to the plate.
But I mean, you know, you don't just want the kid running there saying, Mom, this is what Dad's doing. Woo, blow the whistle, we're out of here.
No. No, you don't want that.
So how do they deal with it? Do they?
Well, I think what you do, you got to go to Dad first. Okay. You better make sure you got the facts right. Even though you may have perceived something, maybe it's true. You need to go and make sure and confront him first of all.
In private.
Private.
Alone. Not like at the dinner table. Hey, Dad.
But I'd throw a time limit on it too. I'd say, Dad, listen. If this is true, I've got you red-handed. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you a week. Get yourself together, and then I want you to tell Mom. If you don't, I'm going to go to Mom, too.
That's applying some serious heat.
You need to. If I don't do something with it, all it's going to do is it's going to turn inward. I'm going to get angry. I'm going to get discouraged. I mean, it might even really affect my relationship with God, too, because I'm going to get blinded.
You know what? I guarantee it will.
Yeah.
Now, here's our email from the adult. They asked this question. I get anxious every time a boy comes over to pick up my daughter on a date. Now, you know what? The gun doesn't seem like it's good enough. Now, how am I going to deal with this problem? Because I can't stand watching my daughter walk off with this guy.
Wow. Yeah, bottom line on that, Al, is I think parents should be concerned.
Yeah.
I think we ought to normalize some of it. Come on. I mean, what's going on out there? A lot of kids are promiscuous, and they're doing things they ought not do. But if it's in excess, where I'm really controlling everything that's going on, it's so intrusive, so manipulative, then it probably says something about me as a parent.
Yeah, absolutely.
When I do that, I steal some of their heart away from them, because the moment I stop believing in them, the moment I stop trusting them, typically the very thing that I don't want to see happen, well, we create sort of an environment for it to start happening. Because I'll start pushing the envelope a little bit. Because the more I get invested in controlling my son or daughter as a parent, typically, the more and more I'll squeeze in and give more rules, and I'll have more expectations of my own kids, frustrating them to the point where they just may say, hey, it doesn't matter. Ephesians 6:4 says, don't anger your children. You know, don't provoke your kids to wrath. Literally, that word wrath is a word for anger. It means don't take them to a point where you frustrate them, to a point where they literally rebel against you or respond in negative ways back to you as a parent. What an awesome responsibility.
Yeah, and you know what, guys, you see, there's no question too hard. I sure appreciate you answering those, Tim. Listen, we want you to communicate with us. We want you to ask us. That's why we take the email. So, guys, email us, aldenson@aol.com. You got a question? Fire it out to us. P.O. Box 220, Grapevine, Texas, 76099.
Hi, I'm Mark Self, Celebration Ministries. Each week I'd like to share with you just one facet of what Celebration Ministries is doing to reach people for Christ. You know, it is so much more than just this TV show you're watching. We've traveled to hundreds of public schools throughout this year. You know, on any given day you can hear Al's music on the radio. You can walk into Christian bookstores across the country and pick up his music on CD and the books he's authored. You can even interact with us on the internet. You know, God is doing tremendous things through Al and through Celebration Ministries. Just take a look at this one aspect.
You know, we get so many questions from kids and parents asking tough questions. And you may be watching the show thinking, what do? You just go into public schools and ask kids' opinions on all these different issues? You know, our ministry is a lot deeper than that. My heart was seeing teenagers give their life to Jesus Christ. And I said to myself, if we're going to reach lost kids, where are they at? And I realized, you know what, today, there's not a lot of lost kids going to churches, but there's a ton of lost kids in public schools. So we came up with a program called Who Are You in the Dark? And this program is designed to go into the public school and talk to the students about character. You see this book on the screen entitled Who Are You in the Dark? This is the book we give away free to every single student in every high school we do. Kids say they'd rather go without food than go without their music, because music is the #1 influence among the American teenager. So we do some little bit of music in the assembly, and we invite the kids to come back that night for an incredible concert. And man, at the end of that concert, we give them a chance to respond to the gospel of Jesus Christ and to stand up in front of their friends and say, hey, I need Jesus Christ. And what a difference it's making. Now, it's funny, since we came up with this program, over 46 states have passed a law that said that teachers have to teach 5 hours of character-building material a week in the public classroom. So schools have opened their arms and said, please come in, please come in, please come in. I want you to keep watching, because at the end of the show, we're going to give you an address on the screen. And I want you to write that address down. And I want you to send me a letter letting us know that you're praying for us, that you're going to stand with us. And you know, when tragedy strikes in your area, let us know. We want to come. We want to help. If you got public schools that you need us to get into, let us know. We want to help you. But more than anything, we want to hear from you so you can let us know that you're praying for us. Because prayer is the only way we're going to effectively change this generation for the gospel of Christ. And I need you to pray with us.
All right, the side word up. All right, the side word up.
Hey, we're very, very fortunate because we've got an incredible group here with us. Not only going to sing to you a little bit later in the show, but we're going to talk to them just a little bit about the blame game. Now, do me a favor, all you guys out here in the audience, y'all please welcome great friends here, Gospel Gangsters. Y'all give them a hand. Look at them. It is great to have you guys on the show. Now, where in the world did y'all come up with the name Gospel Gangsters?
Well, you know, it's not hard. It's simple. We just ex-gang members that lives have been changed by the gospel of Jesus Christ.
Pretty standard to me. That's awesome, man. So, but at one time you guys were in gangs. Now let me ask you this. If you were in gangs, something made you run to gangs, did you blame anybody for you ended up in a gang?
Well, I guess, yeah, we could say, we could blame, you know, a situation within, you know, your urban cities, whatnot, inner cities, you know, with broken homes and most parents being on drugs, and you and the other parent trying to be a single parent, you know, whether that be the mother or the father. So I guess you could look to blame that situation, that whole scenario, you know, for being that. But you really have to take the responsibility of, we made the choice to be in gangs.
Well, when did you finally say, I'm going to accept responsibility and say for the fact that what I'm doing is wrong, I'm going to buck it up, quit blaming other people, and say, I'm making this choice, I'm making this decision, and I'm going to change? When did you do that?
When I came to know Christ, then I really began to see that every choice that I made, life and death is set before me. I choose. You know what I mean? So the choices I make is going to affect my future regardless. I mean, everywhere my life led me was because of the choices I made. I caught a federal case in '89, '90, and it was because of a choice I made. I chose to rob this house and take this bank card and embezzle money. And I chose to do it. And as a result, I was in trouble. And like I chose to serve Christ. I chose to release that lifestyle. And as a result, I'm here today.
Amen, brother. Let me tell you something. Well, you know what? I'm excited about you guys. The fact that, I mean, your new record's on Be Right. You guys are just doing incredible out there. Do you love making the music, man?
Making music is, I think, the epitome of our ministry. I mean, it makes us, you know, more and more excited every time we go back into the studio and we rethink and say, what can we do next, you know, to, you know, enhance the young people to praise God, and, you know, what will entice them to be, you know, servers of God, and, you know, and make the gospel gangster ministry more powerful.
And you guys now, you take your message into public schools, don't you? Yeah. Tell us what you do there. How do you be able to manufacture yourself into those guys? How do you do that?
Well, you know, I mean, a lot of people don't accept us in a public school system as far as being a ministry, so they just say, come in and do your music, and then your music share your songs. That's why it's so important for us to have the word saturated in our music, because they separate church and state, so you can't just go in per se and preach. But we go in and anti-gang, anti-drug things, and if they ask us questions, what made you change? And we could share, well, I was once, you know what I'm saying, an alcoholic. I was once a gang member. I was once involved with gang activity until Jesus came into my life.
You know what, guys? You're watching the reason why we got to be responsible and quit playing the blame game. Let me tell you something. These guys are hot, they're dynamic, and man, you talking about getting it pumping, these guys can lift the house. So I don't want you going anywhere, because you're going to keep it tuned in, because we're going to get to hear these guys do a little jamming right here when we come back on the Al Denson Show. So don't leave, man. You guys are going to dig it. Yeah, oh yeah.
You think your parents are smart, or do you think they're stupid?
Smart.
I think they're smart because they're teaching you how to grow up and how when you grow up so you can be a better adult.
They've been through more things than we have, and they can take care of me and make sure I stay out of trouble.
Some kids, when like your mom's telling you some rules or something, kids just go, oh, my parents don't know what they're talking about, but they do. If you think about what they're talking about and ask some other people, then you'll find out that your parents do know what they're talking about.
Yeah, total devastation. Yeah, about to put it down. World domination. Yeah. We gonna do it like this. DJ, better crack your bass. Bounce. No. Bounce. Yeah. Come on, bounce over there. Yeah. Bounce. Yeah. All right. Better crack your bass. Living life on the run when I end up in jail with die by gun. Can't hide when they come. Y'all know where I'm from, and I ride with the sun. My outlook on this world is from a G's perspective. Find those in a life of sin, get born again, it's my objective. Bring it pain like ethic, but I'm West Coast Cali, tried and tested. Recorded and arrested, the force of the girls every day. People die and addressed it. With my street education and my organization, got my sword in my waistline, cause you come to my rescue, Lord, cause I'm late to the situation. And it's kinda hard to sleep because my name is sad. My dog's two in the back of the door, and in the back of my road with his brain splattered. Why do the good die young? I heard a voice say, go back to the hood. My son and my wife, they tears away. So I took the under my back. I got my word on the swerve, but can't leave without that. There's a father vision, gotta be about that. Committee got my back, and I can't doubt that. And I can't, I'm about that. I'm about that skrill. Still gotta pay those bills, I'm out to make a meal. If you're gonna do his will, then you gotta stay real. I gotta stay real. The light shine on me. Shine on me. So now I see. Said I see your light shining on me.
I told him my kids were here. We're gonna break it down. Hustling every day and night. Trying to pay the rent, my mama smoked up hers on dope. So the money spent corrupted by this ghetto living. Drive-bys and killings. The preachers paid and I'm broke. So I can't feel him. I know the Lord, he's watching me. But he gave us free will. I feel that's what's stopping me. Cause I'm in love, my script, my mind is on. Deep meditation about me and God's separation. If I don't do his will, go to hell. Here's my calculation. That's sticky situation. No one wanna face it. No one wanna face it. Sin had me pacing. Repeated with no hesitation. He brought me from a life of sin, drinking gin. But now I'm saved, so I know I can make it in. I try and tell my friends that's going on backwards. They either dead or dead, or somewhere scattered. So I hope and pray God bless all the G's and open up their eyes, low, like he did me. Now what? Yeah. Non-stop. Yeah. What? Shine this light on. What? That's what he did for me. Watch this.
I was sitting down one day. I opened my eyes
and I visualized
my current state. No God, no faith, with a dirty slate, sipping hate with a life full of hate. Never see the pearly gates unless I make decisions in a hurry. I'm in a worldly state. My mind's overbreaking my vision. Making me in a hurry. Deep in the race, keeping the pace and keeping the faith. Nobody did what he did, let the people face. Nobody better put a straight. What the heat is way. Lord, give me the grace to do your will if that's my destination. Caught him when I lost my guesstimation. Bob your head. The destination.
Yeah, sing it with me. Sing it with me. Yeah, sing it with me. Bounce.
I'm gonna thank you, Lord, for saving me.
Yeah, sing it with me.
I wanna thank you, Lord.
It don't stop.
Lord, for saving me. I saw the light on me.
That's what he did.
I wanna thank you, Lord, for saving me.
What? Gospel gangsters, what? Gospel gangsters, what?
I was blind, but now I see.
What? Saw it. I seen it. Did you see it? I seen it. Did you see it? I seen it. Did you see it? I seen it.
Hey, listen. I can't do all that. I tell you what, Gospel Gangster, man, you guys did a great job. I was sitting there thinking while I was sitting there watching, I was saying, it's great just to see what you guys are doing. Now, I didn't quite understand all that. Give me something slow that you were saying there so I can understand. Our viewers can understand it slow-wise.
I said, my outlook on this world is from a G's perspective. Find those in a life of sin, get them born again is my objective.
Okay, now say that. Now I caught that. Now I want you to give it to us at real time.
My outlook on this world is from a G's perspective. Find those in a life of sin, get them born again is my objective.
See, Baptists can't do that. They think they're speaking in tongues. It'd be all over for all of us at that point, you know. So we got to stay. But those of you watching, listen, these guys are incredible. Let me tell you what makes them so awesome. They go out in public schools all over the place. Man, y'all are reaching people that, man, like guys like me, man, we never reach, man. And I just appreciate what you guys do. In fact, I tell you what, guys, you know, we are so fortunate. Y'all do me a favor. Give these guys, the Gospel Gangster, give them an incredible hand. Man, you guys are awesome. Now listen, you know, it's true. We all of us, I mean, we all play the blame game. And you know what? We play it all the time. And we actually play it oftentimes when we don't realize it. And like I told you before, you know, it's easy to blame other people because it seems to get the guilt off of us and throw it on them. At the same time, we blame ourselves, so other times we end up blaming God. But I wanted to stop right here and tell you this. You know, if you're out there, listen, God's got you watching this show for a reason. Because, you know, He doesn't want you blaming anybody else. He wants you to actually step up and say, you know, I need to look at my own life and quit blaming other people and say, you know, it's time I gain control of myself. Step up and take responsibility. Hey, listen, you don't have to blame God. God loved you, man. God loved you enough that He said, I don't want you to hurt like that. And God sent His own Son. It's kind of as simple as the ABCs, you know. When He sent His Son there for you, A, you got to admit the fact that right now you're watching, you got to admit the fact, I do have a problem and I need to get some help. B, when you realize that, you become broken because you start looking at yourself on the inside saying, man, why am I like this, man? B, I got to be broken. And then C, when you start getting broken, you start confessing to God saying, man, I've messed up here, I've blown it here. And you'll end up saying, man, I got to have help. Because you know what? You can't do it alone. Apart from God, you flat out can't do it alone. And I want to encourage you so bad. You got to give God a shot. You got to put God in here. You can't keep blaming everybody else. You got to give God a shot. Jesus died on a cross for you. He said, I love you this much. He said, I'll take your blame. And he died, and he's simply saying, listen, make peace with me. And I'm telling you, you can't keep running. You got to make peace with God. I want to do this real quick. We've written this book. It's a simple book. It's a little brochure. It says, who's going to pay? I want to give it to you as a gift. The reason why, because I know we all need help on the inside. If you're dealing with a blame game, I want to give it to you. Just write us. It's simple. It's P.O. Box 220, Grapevine, Texas, 76099. And I'll send you this. But more importantly than even getting this book, listen to me. Get alone and ask God to come in and to change you and to help you in those areas in your life that are suffering and help you to quit blaming other people and start looking at yourself and saying, hey, God, I can't do this by myself. I need you. Hey, we sure appreciate you guys. Now, look, here's the book, man. Email us, write us. We want to give this to you. Guys, we've enjoyed you watching the Al Denson Show. It's been great to have you here. Stay tuned. We'll be back at you next week. Hope you had a good time. God bless you guys.
Please write to the Al Denson Show at P.O. Box 220, Grapevine, Texas, 76099, or email us at aldenson@aol.com, or visit our website at www.aldenson.com.
We receive so many calls and letters from parents saying, help me. My kids are out of control. They have no respect for authority. They're hooked on drugs or on alcohol. They don't come home at night. What do we do? Well, I want to tell you about a safe place. This place is called Heartland. And Heartland is about restoring your child through a relationship with Jesus Christ. But they're uniquely different in the fact that they offer work programs to also instill discipline in your child and get a pride of respect for work in there. They have a dairy. They got a farm the kids work on. There's a Christian school the kids attend so they continue to get their education. There's recovery centers that the guys stay in. There's girls' homes that the ladies stay in. They hang out with other kids just like them. They're in Bible studies. They're focused programs. And it's all a part of restoring your teenager through a relationship with Jesus Christ. It's a safe place where you can send your child. If you need help, please email us. We'll send you all kind of information on Heartland. Hey, listen, our kids are worth saving. We've got to act now.